If we rewind the clock back a little bit, back more than 10 years ago, at the very beginning, there was a lot of suspicion over the purpose of creating an institution like this, and of course China's role in the process. But over the years, we've seen the AIIB becoming increasingly playing the role of a major player in the MDB family and gaining broader global recognition. What do you think has led to this change?
As a multilateral development bank, as an international institution, it is of vital importance to have both developed countries and developing countries to join and work together. We aim at South-South cooperation and a North-South cooperation. So can you imagine if we only have a couple of countries in Asia, developing countries, poor countries, without the participation of other countries in other regions, it will be very hard for the bank to be credible, right? So we set a very high standard, we set a high bar. This bank must be run as an international institution by high standards. And since we persevere in pursuing this high objective, since we stick to the basic principle that the bank is run as an international institution, we won the trust, not just the 57, but also more and more countries.
I'd like to ask you about the second word in your bank's name, infrastructure. The definition has really broadened beyond the traditional and energy and transport and expanded to what you see as the infrastructure of tomorrow. What's the picture you've envisioned?
Infrastructure is the very foundation for modern economy. And infrastructure development paves the path for sustained development. This is what we understood. But with the evolvement of our financing and with the passage of time, we understood that infrastructure should never ever be designed, implemented in a way like what it was done 20, 30 years ago. We are building infrastructure for tomorrow, which means the infrastructure development should take into consideration the impact on the environment. Our modern infrastructure should be conducive to the improvement in the environment, reversing the environmental degradation, and our infrastructure should also help dealing with climate change. So we do a lot of climate change financing for climate adaptation, mitigation kind of thing. So also we think infrastructure should be defined in a very broad way. For instance, when China and the many other countries were hit by COVID-19, we quickly mobilized resources to do projects which would help these countries deal with COVID-19 impact. We provide support to Beijing, Wuhan, and Chongqing. And we provide support to many other countries. You know why? Because healthcare system is important. And COVID-19 laid bare the weaknesses of the healthcare system. It's the weakest link on the chain. And then we help these countries and the people to deal with that. It's the social infrastructure. And we're also providing support for digital infrastructure. So infrastructure for tomorrow is the infrastructure to improve the resilience of the economies in our countries which we support.
As someone who grew up with the nation and whose experiences mirror the rise of his country, what are some of the messages you'd like to share with the younger generation of talent out there who share the aspiration to become someone like you?
I think for the younger generation, they live in a very much different world as we were in the 50s, 60s. They have now extensive contacts with the outside world, and through internet, all kinds of books, they know much, much more than what we could possibly to do in those days. But I would say it's very much important is to have the social values, to keep in mind we should never ever live for ourselves. We should live for other people. As a Chinese, I think when China becomes number 2 economy, we should try our very best to continue to improve the well-being of the Chinese people, but also I think it's our duty to help the people of other countries, particularly low-income countries. And this is what we need to do. And they have a bright future. They have the future ahead of them. What is most important? Cherish all the opportunities. Never waste a single minute.
President Jin Liqun, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much.